to talk about divisibility rules. Divisibility is what we spoke about in class today. And divisibility discusses how a number can go into another number through division. If a number is divisible by another number, that means that it goes in evenly. For example, 10 is divisible by 1, obviously. All numbers, whole numbers are divisible by 1. 2, because 10 is an even number. 5 goes into 10 2 times. And of course, 10. All numbers are divisible by 1 in themselves. 1 in itself. So, today what we talked about were divisibility rules. And we focused on 4 main divisibility rules. The divisibility rule of 2, the divisibility rule of 3, of 5, and of 9. 2 and 5 are pretty easy. You know a number is divisible by 2 if it is an even number. If the number you're dividing by, if your dividend is an even number, then it's definitely divisible by 2. 5 is also easy. If the number has a 0 or a 5 in the ones place, then it is divisible by 5. So 2 pretty easy things. 3 and 9 are a little more complicated, and they involve a few steps involving the digital root of a number. Now the digital root of a number is basically, it used to be called taking out the 9s. Basically removing all the groups of 9 until whatever you have left. What mathematicians realized that instead of having to subtract 9 from a number, all they had to do was add up the digits in the number, continue adding up the digits until they got to a 1-digit number, and that number is the digital root, or what would be left over if you took all the 9s out. So let me show you an example. Let's say, for example, we had the number 389, and we wanted to find the digital root of 389. We would add the digits 3 plus 8 plus 9, which would give us 20. Then we must keep going until we get to a 1-digit number. So we add 2 plus 0, which equals 2. So the digital root of 389 is 2. Now, that comes in handy when we're trying to find if a number is divisible by 3 or 9. For 3, if the digital root is 3, 6, or 9, then that number is divisible by 3. Now 389 has the digital root of 2, therefore this would not be divisible by 3. With 9, if the digital root is 9, then it is divisible by 9. So let's do a couple of examples, just to make sure we understand what we're doing. So let's say we have the number 3,842, and I want to figure out what it's divisible by. Just looking at these 4. Obviously it's divisible by several numbers, 1 in itself to be included in that. But also I just want to see if it's divisible by 2, 3, 5, 9. And I'm going to throw 10 in there, because we know 10, if it ends in 0. Okay? If there's a 0 at the end, we know it's divisible by 10. Also divisible by 5, by the way. So we look at this number, 3,842. So we ask, is it divisible by 2? Well, yes, because it's an even number. So it's divisible by 2. So we're going to put a check by 2. Oh, and we can also write it over here next to the number. 3. Well, we have to find, before we get to 3, let's do the easier ones first. Is it divisible by 5? Well, no, because the 2 is in the ones place. It's not a 0 or 5. Therefore, it's not divisible by 10 either. So we know it's not 5, not 10. So let's look at 3 and 9. We first have to find the digital root. And if you remember from a second ago, we add up the digits until we get to a 1-digit number. So 3 plus 8, 11, plus 4 equals 15, plus 2 equals 17. Still not a 1-digit number, so I add 1 plus 7. That gives me 8. So the digital root of this number is 8. Well, to be divisible by 3, it needs to have a digital root of 3, 6, or 9. It doesn't. To be divisible by 9, it needs to have a digital root of 9. It doesn't. Therefore, out of these 5 factors, or these 5 divisors, this number is only divisible by 2 out of these. Now, I'm sure there are other numbers that's divisible by, but as far as these 5 right here, it's only divisible by 2. Let's do one more example, just to make sure we get it. 1,685. So we look at, is it an even number? No. So it's not divisible by 2. Does it end in 5 or 0? Yes. So it's divisible by 5. Cool. Does it end in 0? No. So it's not divisible by 10. Now let's find the digital root. 1 plus 6 equals 7, plus 8 equals 15, plus 5 equals 20. Well, it's still not a one-digit number, so 2 plus 0 equals 2. Well, our digital root is neither 3, 6, or 9. Therefore, it's not divisible by either 3 or 9. So out of those 5 numbers, it is only divisible by 5. In your homework tonight, you'll be doing things like this where you are deciding if it's divisible by these 5 numbers. Remember these steps. 2, a number is divisible by 2 if it's an even number. 3, if the digital root is 3, 6, or 9, then it's divisible by 3. And remember, to find the digital root, you add up the digits of the number until you keep adding until you have a one-digit number. 5, the divisibility rule for 5 is if there's a 0 or 5 in the ones place, it's divisible by 5. 9, if the digital root is 9, it's divisible by 9. And 10, if it ends in 0 or there's a 0 in the ones place, it's divisible by 10. Hope this helps. Have a great day.